Hi folks, this is Karim Raouf from IT Visualizer channel. We will continue our lab, the Red Alert Lab. This is the video number 100. We have been discussing in the previous video the following. We have been working now for 11 videos on discussing the documentation which is called CIS Critical Security Controls version 8, which is a documentation that discusses how we can protect ourselves against cybersecurity attacks. And we have reached so far in this documentation point number 3, which is data protection, and we have said to protect our data we need to know the life cycle of the data, and we have discussed the different life cycles of the data and how we can protect data in all of its life cycle. And we have a practical example on a data protection guide or a data management process guide for Dammam University, and we have discussed the different things in this documentation. They have in Dammam University classified their data for 4 types, and how they can protect all of these 4 types of data, protect them when they are in rest and when they are in transit, and how they can back up the 4 different types of data. What is the backup policy? Because also one of the things to protect your data is not only encryption but to back up your data. So at Dammam University we have discussed how they protect their data by backup and what are the different categories of backup. They have classified their backup to 4 types, and we discussed every type and what does it mean, and how or what type of data that will be taken according to this classification. And we have stopped the last time at the Dammam University documentation concerning the cloud storage. So one of the methods to back up your data, not to back up to locally to your NAS storage or to your file server or to local devices within your network, but you can also save it to the cloud. So they have a policy. If you need to save your data, for example students, if they need to save their data on OneDrive, they have a policy for that. And for the university itself, if wants to save its data on the cloud, there is a policy for that. But anyway, I need to make a small note. This documentation was a little bit old, it's not a completely new one. So the using of the cloud storage at that time the documentation was issued, it was not that much, and it was not now it's not like now. It is now very famous, and most of the companies use it now, and there is a lot of controls to secure the cloud storage. Using the cloud storage, use the cloud storage to save your data on it. There is a lot of security measures that will secure saving your data on the cloud. So let's see the documentation of Dammam University concerning OneCloud storage or OneCloud storage policy. To use OneDrive, all users must comply with Microsoft terms and privacy conditions. On first use, you will be prompted to accept these Microsoft terms and conditions. Anyway, this is clearly stated. This is something regular. So you need to accept Microsoft terms and privacy policy. Then the use of OneDrive is optional, so it's not forcing you to use OneDrive or to use the cloud storage. Okay, UOD or Dammam University does not require you to use OneDrive to complete your studies. Okay, so you are not required to save your data on the cloud to complete your studies if you are taking a course in the university. If you do not wish to accept Microsoft terms and privacy conditions for the use of OneDrive, this is okay, but you will not be able to utilize the Microsoft OneDrive utility. Okay. UOD and Microsoft, so the university and Microsoft will not be held responsible for any and or all data losses or corruption. Students will have to arrange their own backup or replication of their data. Okay, Microsoft provides no commitment to guarantee continuous access to your files. Therefore, any loss of service may deny access to important files at critical times. So this is changed. I think this is now is not the case, because the cloud storage now guarantee you 24/7 access to your data, because there is a lot of replication. So your data is replicated to different cloud servers. Okay, so Microsoft, for example, if you're saving your data on OneDrive storage, this will be replicated to different Microsoft servers, and there is a lot of sites that the whole sites replicate their data to another site. So this is guaranteed now, okay, that your data will be always accessible at all times, okay. As for the University of Dammam, it says that saving your data or the student data on his laptop or on the cloud, they will not guarantee you if they are lost that you can return it back. If you need to save your data, okay, you should save it on the university file server or on the internal devices of the university, okay. So the internal devices of the university, especially the NAS storage or the file server, we guarantee, or the university guarantee, that it will be backed up and they can restore the data. When information data is stored on OneDrive, which is not owned by the university, it is the responsibility of the staff members storing the information or data to ensure to back up important data to an external hard disk. So it's saying if you as a student are saving data on the cloud, so you'll not save it on the internal devices or internal servers of the university, then you should take care to take a copy of this data stored on the cloud on an external hard disk. So this is very clear. Then he continues saying you should be aware that in both a breach of the OneDrive contract and university terms and conditions to store any copyright material with this facility, this includes books, music or videos subject to copyright. Breach of these rules may result in your account being terminated by Microsoft without notification and result in the loss of data within the account, which will be irretrievable. So he's saying that if you are copying data, for example, maybe this is if you have something like a book or a music that has copyrights on it and you are copying it and putting it on a Microsoft cloud and the university storages, then this will let you be encountered, or this will make you or your account will be suspended if you are taking illegal copies of copyright material like music or books of the university and copy them, illegal copy, and put them on storages like Microsoft, or for example taking copyright music and put it on the university internal servers, then your account will be suspended, okay, and you will not be able to work again on this data, and it will be irretrievable, okay. Information or data must be stored in this storage where the university intellectual property, copyrights, trademarks or patents may be compromised. Information or data must be stored in this storage where the university intellectual property, copyrights, trademarks or patents may be compromised. Must not be stored. So he's saying that there is a clear thing that the books of the university, everything related to the university which have a copyright on it, should not be stored on OneDrive storage. So here is clearly stating that you should not save anything related to the university on OneDrive storage. We can see that now this has been changed today because most of the companies and universities use OneCloud storage for saving their data, okay. Use cautious when storing documents and data in public cloud storage. Public cloud storage, he's stating public cloud storage, maybe private cloud storage, maybe like Azure, I think it was not famous at that time, or the AWS, this is permissible, okay. Store only non-sensitive, non-critical and non-confidential documents. So he is clearly stating if you need to use OneCloud or OneDrive cloud storage or cloud storage, then you should not save sensitive data on it, okay, sensitive or non-confidential or non-critical. So you can save public data maybe. So this is the only type of data that the University of Dammam can save on OneDrive, okay. Do not use public and cloud storage to store files containing sensitive data. Again, he's stating that. Please refer to the university data classification policy. We have said in the classification policy that you can do not use, okay, to store, okay. So he's saying that data classification, there is 4 types of data we have discussed before: public, internal, confidential, high confidential. You should, or according to this statement, you can save public data on OneDrive storage. Even for instance, when you work with non-sensitive information using public cloud storage services for institutional documents does not make a good long-term storage solution. In many cases, public cloud storage requires that the files be associated with an individual personal account. Should that individual leave the university, the institution loses access to this, to the data. So it's saying, why not use the OneDrive cloud storage? Because it is associated with the email account. Okay, so for example, if the email account is closed for any reason, or the one saving the data on the OneDrive storage has left the university, okay, so you will not be able to access their data. So for example, if there is some of the university's internal data was saved on OneDrive storage for one of the users, which his Drive account or OneDrive account is linked to his email account, then he was resigned or left the university, they will not be able to retrieve this data. So they have a clear policy stating that they should not save any data related to the university on OneDrive storage or on public cloud storage in specific. Okay, so maybe they can save it on private cloud storage, okay, which is owned by the university. Maybe Azure account for the university, maybe AWS. Anyway, so this is the statement, or this is the things related to the OneDrive cloud storage. And here is some terms. He's saying cloud computing, abstraction of virtualized web-based computers, resources and services that support scalable IT solutions. They say, what is a cloud computing? It is a virtualized web-based computers, resources, services that scalable IT solutions. So you can access all of these computers, resources through the web browser. So this is virtualized computers, networks, resources that can be accessed remotely using the browser. So you can use your Edge browser to access a virtualized based computers, resources, networks, okay, through the web browser or through the Edge. OneDrive, officially Microsoft OneDrive, FreeBSD, Windows Live OneDrive, and Windows Live Folder. It is a file hosting service that allows users to upload and sync files to a cloud storage and then access them from a web browser on their local device. So this is what is OneDrive. And by the way, most of the enterprises disable OneDrive storage. Okay, so in large enterprises, users are not allowed to save the enterprise work documents on their OneDrive or on their private OneDrive cloud storage. Okay, this is not permitted because, as we said before, maybe if the employee left the company, then they will not be able to retrieve the data from his OneDrive. So in most large enterprises, they have their own cloud storage, and they can redirect the users to save their data on the enterprise cloud storage, not their private or not their public cloud storage. Okay, so this is, and it will not be linked to his account. So for example, maybe your enterprise have an Azure blob or Azure storage account, so users can save their data to the Azure cloud storage, and this Azure cloud storage, it is owned by the company, so all of the data can be retrieved by the enterprise or the company at any given time. So these are all of the OneDrive cloud storage policy. So he is clearly stating that no user or student or employee should save his data on his public cloud storage account. Okay, he clearly stating that because the cloud storage account is linked to the email account, and if the user left the property, we will not be able to access this data because we don't know the username and the password of his email account, and this is personal data which is not permitted to be given to us. Okay, so this is the OneDrive cloud storage, and the upcoming video will begin working or going further in the CIS critical security controls version 8. So let me show you all what we have reached until now. So we have discussed 3 things concerning this documentation. First of all, to protect yourself against cybersecurity attacks, you should make inventory and control of assets or enterprise assets. Establish and maintain detailed enterprise asset inventory. Address unauthorized assets. Utilize an active discovery or a tool to discover your network and your devices, and use this tool regularly to scan your network. Use dynamic host configuration protocol DHCP logging to update enterprise assets inventory. We have discussed all of this in the previous video, but I'm just giving a brief about what we have discussed so far. Use a passive asset discovery control. This is the first control. Second control, inventory and control of software assets. Establish and maintain a software inventory. Ensure authorized software is currently supported. Address unauthorized software. Utilize automated software inventory tools to make an inventory and monitor this inventory of the software. Allow list authorized software. Allow list authorized libraries. Allow authorized scripts. So these are all controlled by the app locker. Which softwares are allowed, which scripts are allowed, which library files are allowed. Okay, this is the second control. The third control, which is the data protection, that we have reached and we have finished it with this video. Establish and maintain a data management process. We have discussed it. Maintain a data inventory for the different types of data. Configure data access control list to control who can access different types of data. Enforce data retention or data archive. Securely dispose of data. We have discussed this also. Encrypt data on end users devices like laptops, workstations, phones. Establish and maintain a data classification scheme. We have done this. Document data flow. We have done this as a graph. Encrypt data on removable media. Very reasonable thing to do. If you are transferring data on flashes or USB, then this flash or USB should be encrypted. Encrypt sensitive data in transit. We have said that. Encrypt data sensitive at rest. We have also discussed that. Segment data process and storage based on sensitivity. So low protected or low security workstations should not access high sensitivity data on high servers or high important servers, or high servers that contains important data or sensitive data. Segment. Okay, so public data can be accessed from public workstations. Sensitive data should be accessed from secured workstations. For example, a very clear example, to access the Active Directory we should use a PAW or privileged access workstation, which is a very secure workstation we use to connect to the Active Directory. Okay, for example, we don't have internet available on this machine to secure it from hacking. Okay, so this is one of the things to segment accessing of data. Okay, deploy a data loss prevention solution. I think this is a very famous solution. Okay, but I didn't use it in my environment, but there is some systems that will help you to prevent against data loss. Okay, log sensitive data access. Any user that access sensitive data, it should be logged in a logbook or through event logs, for example, in the Windows. So all of this should be monitored and should be recorded, so we can return back if there is any leakage happen, to know who is responsible for leaking the data or who is the last person accessing the data. So these are the three controls or the 3 points we have discussed so far in this documentation. In the upcoming video we'll begin controlling or begin working with the fourth one, which is secure configuration of enterprise assets and software. We will see how we can secure our configurations of our enterprise assets, hardware and software. Hope this video informed of you all, and until the upcoming video, thank you so much.